even though I paid for that photo and I was dressed up and made up to the gills, I still somehow was surprised. Good evening and welcome to Tips from the Top, where we're going to deal with lots of tips from the top, the bottom and the middle. My name is Aideen McQueen and here beside me is my sister from another mister, Charlie Harrison. How are you, Charlie?
I'm good, thank you. Lovely to see you. You seem in good spirits.
I am in good spirits, and that brings me probably to why I'm in good spirits, because it's the one thing we do often in this show is we talk about the best part of our week and the worst part of the week. And the best part of my week is that I received a gift from my boyfriend. Now, I'm very good at receiving gifts, but I'm really good at hinting what I want. So I mentioned for about 2 weeks how I thought every time I saw a girl with dungarees, how well they looked and how sexy dungarees were, right? So lo and behold, I got a pair of dungarees.
Let's have a look.
These bad boys have changed my life. They're feminine, but they're funky. It's one piece of material. You don't have to make any decisions about your clothes. And I feel more feminist. And you know how much of a shit feminist I am. But I'm actually getting different thoughts about equality now. I feel like people respect me in the supermarket. I've got pockets. Before I would just throw things in my bra like the super slut that I am. Now I respect myself with pockets. Like, no, seriously, clothes do have a big psychological effect. And these dungarees, like, in the 2 days that I've had them, major seismic shift.
Fabulous. They look great. And I think you should experiment with the Mel B look, which is one strap down. Less feminist, but more Grecian statue with tit out.
Oh, yeah, because that's like, oh, it's a mistake. I didn't know my boob was sticking out. I so did. Like, I'm not going to brag, but I got free hot sauce with my pizza today. And I definitely think it's the dungarees. There you go. Look at that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
so
good.
that was the best part of my week. But I mean, there is a theory. They say that people like Barack Obama and Mark Zuckerberg, they always wear the same clothes. Have you heard this theory?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's to cut down on decision making every day, so that they use the brain for the important parts of the day, for the important decisions. They retrain brain power, and that they don't have to waste time making decisions about clothes, even if it is like just one decision. So they cut down all these things. And yeah, so speaking as somebody who's worn dungarees for 2 days in a row, yeah, I'm on that. I'm in the category now.
Yeah, and I can tell I can tell you've been more productive already just by your energy. It's amazing.
I know. I'm holding a pen.
The best part of my week is I've got a new job.
Okay, wow. Tell me more.
I need a lot of feedback for my stories. I'm very needy, so I need a lot of kind of like pantomime style. And what job is that? Thank you for asking. Yeah. The job is a barista on a canal boat.
Oh, cool! That is deadly.
Yeah. How good! And my favorite things are, I love canal boats and I love being on the canal. And I love people. I love like strangers and talking to strangers. And I love boat people specifically. So it's really I think it's gonna be my into the boat community, the canal boat community.
I feel like that wouldn't have been as difficult, but no, it's true. You've always liked boats and the seafaring life. You love coffee.
I love coffee.
Like
well, I like certain amount of people. I'm gonna really try to be friendly to everyone, but sometimes I get this thing where I get a bodily reaction sometimes, occasionally, at random to certain people I just instantly don't like, and I think that might be a bit of a challenge while I'm serving coffee, but we'll see. I start tomorrow.
Okay, that's great. What time?
7:30. The earliest in 10 years. Yes.
I already hate this. No, this is good. And you can't advertise though on our podcast. Oh no, actually, stalkers
No,
will be following you. We've got to keep that one quiet.
too many stalkers.
Yeah, we've had problems with stalkers on this show, quite a lot, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to brag, but between the two of us, we've had at least like
one.
one stalker.
So
Yeah.
I had one more stalker than Nadine did each time. Anytime there's been I had one more than you. Who have we got on talking of stalkers, who have we got on the show? No, he's not.
Well, we're in good form. Well, before we introduce who's on the show, which is going to be the great Arthur Smith. Thanks, Margaret, for the congratulations. We want to go through kind of bring it down a bit by introducing our worst moment. Is that possible?
Sure. My worst moment it was on the same day yesterday that I got the canal boat job. Was just in the afternoon. I just felt quite lonely.
Oh, and can you explain why? Do you know?
I do know why. Because I've lived in Edinburgh for about a year now, and I still can't get as many people to hang out with me as I want. I don't have enough friends still, and I was feeling. I'm fine with it in the week. But when the weekend comes, Saturdays, I'm like, oh, I'm so lonely. Like I really, I text back 3 people, 100% rejection rate. And I just kind of, I sometimes try to do this thing where I'm like, you don't feel lonely on a Tuesday, pretend it's a Tuesday. But no, Saturday, it's very relative loneliness. So I just hear, in my mind's eye, everyone's having brunch with their crew of all the people they and I'm just like texting people, being like, "Want to go for a walk?" But I might make friends on the canal. That's why I'm moving to the canal scene. I think it might
the boat faring community are my friends now. But I think that's the force of growing up in London, where you've always had your friendship base there, and you would have gone to school and stuff. So I think people who move around more would be more used to it, but it's not something people talk about. But once you get over the age of 25, it's almost impossible to make friends unless you do some weird, awful hobby, or you get an addiction and then you're all in the heroin community, So if anyone has any tips about making friends over the age of 25, please text in.
Particularly female friends, because as you can probably imagine, I haven't found it hard to meet men.
No, you have not. Yes. We all need, I don't know about Tinder, but do we have Friender? Please text in and give us some advice on how you can be your own friends generator.
What was
my worst? But it's a bit more direct. I got a gig, £400 gig in Oxford in a tent, marquee hosting for Matt Richardson and Nathan Catton. I was really excited. It was part of a festival. And then suddenly, maybe 2 days after getting the gig, they pulled the gig. So the highs and the lows of all of that happened. But I also have to deal with it. It's more difficult. Is it more difficult to get more friends and more gigs? I don't know.
I suppose you've got to take yourself back to the place before you were offered the gig. That's quite hard, but
that's so true. Like it's a Tuesday. Yeah, you're right. The same idea of what you said. It's just a Tuesday. Nobody's lonely on a Tuesday.
Exactly.
So it's just I'm just a woman who hasn't got any gig on the 26th. Why would I have a gig on the 26th? I'm not looking forward to that at all. It kind of works. Yeah, it kind of works. And you know what? The fact of being offered that gig and being in the mind of those people is worth something in itself.
Yeah, I would say that.
It's better than nothing.
It's kind of all the pride and the compliment of getting booked without the effort of having to do the actual work.
Because who wants to go to Bicester? To loosen my dungarees there, I got a bit queasy. So actually, you're right. I've had the roller coaster of fun without having to move from my house, and you can imagine £400, very little for me. I'm not a special tax bracket that's 90% anyway. So
I know what you mean. I'll go to the tax man.
Yes, I know. I'll say hello to him for you. Okay, so that brings us swiftly onto the tax man. Brings us swiftly onto our guest now, who is very familiar with the tax one because he's a high-earning, high-profile comedian. I'm a big fan of his for a long time. Since before I ever started comedy, I was listening to Arthur Smith on Grumpy Old Man, on BBC4, on loads of TV stuff. And of course, he's a stalwart of Edinburgh. So we'd like to welcome now to your screens, Mr. Arthur Smith.
Thank you. Good evening, Charlie and Nadine, and to everyone out there. Margaret McHugh, I've seen so far.
Margaret's a regular listener, regular viewer, and maybe she will be my friend if I ask her.
Yeah,
you know what? Margaret is a lovely woman. She's my mate, and I highly recommend her. Yeah.
Will you send her to me?
Yeah, I will. She gave me a lift from a gig once, and we hit it off after that. But yeah, so Arthur.
Tennis with her. Yeah, then we used to go to the bandstand on Clapham Common, me and Margaret. I've made that up, and I apologise.
It sounds lovely. The bandstand, really very strong image. That, especially behind you, I could really picture it.
I don't know why bandstand suddenly came into my head. When did you last see a band playing on a bandstand?
Bands have been banned from the bandstand. We cannot stand the band in the bandstand anymore. They have been banned because of COVID, as a new brand of disease that the bandstand have banned. Oh my God, Arthur, I'm getting some of your poetic love into my brain already. So tell us, Arthur, how has lockdown been for you? Everybody's pretending it's been great, but has it?
Well, no, I'm not going to pretend that, because they do annoy me, the people who say, yes, lockdown's great. I get up and cycle for 2 hours, and then I do Zoom meetings for work and everything, and then I hand out things to NHS workers, and I think, there must be about 1 in a million like that. I've been a victim of. I run a course called Mindlessness, which investigates the pointlessness of being alive. One of my things is CBA, can't be asked-fulness. And I have a great deal of CBA, and there's lots of things you could be doing, but I'm afraid CBA overcomes me.
I like mindlessness. For a second, I was like, "Oh, really? Can I do this course?"
Maybe I can monetize it, because like you, I've lost all my stand-up work and everything, but fortunately, I've had a couple of voiceovers, and my lovely partner Beth is writing upstairs, so I've got it a lot better than a lot of people. So I'm trying not to be miserable.
You'd think that, Arthur, but she's actually been writing furiously upstairs to me texts about what a shit boyfriend you've been to me. He won't do the bloody dishes. Barry, Brian, or whatever he's called, he's a disgrace.
He's actually sent me one just from her that says, I'm annoyed. I think he's meeting up with this woman called Margaret at the bandstand. I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I'm sorry. Right, Margaret, we're not meeting. I'm sorry. It was nice while it lasted, but let's leave the bandstand to itself.
Oh, it's so romantic. That's what I always like about you. Other than doing the CBA course and the mindlessness and not living in the moment course that you do, living in the past course that you do. I've done them all. Is that you romanticize stuff, and you have a great way of telling stories, and your comedy is never mean, it's never scathing, it's observational, but it's also very whimsical. And when you talk, whenever I give out about ex-boyfriends or something, when I'm talking to you, you'll always have a lovely, funny story about an ex-girlfriend. So I was hoping that you might, and I'm not gonna lie, but you're a little bit older than myself and Charlie.
Really?
Put together, I'm about the same, I reckon.
As our stage ages, yes. And guess if you'd like to guess all of our ages, please, you can text us in to the guest. What's up, Charlie and Arthur's age? Yes, Charlie.
What a great competition! Yeah. Guess our ages. And the 3 of us. Yeah, please do. My favourite game.
Yeah, and the prize we'll discuss the prize later. Yeah. I'm not really able to wink very well because of the Botox.
a lot of most women, you can easily, if you say guess their age as being about 10 years younger than they look, even the most cynical woman quite enjoys it, I notice.
Well, that's why it's not my favourite game, it's my least favourite game, because even when I'm aware that men do that, they take off the ages, they still guess me as older than I am.
Oh, no. But do you get served alcohol in pubs?
Yes, I do, unfortunately. That's part of the reason I've aged so horribly.
Tip from the top: drink less.
Drink less if you want to win the game of looking young.
Yeah, but there are those people who look older.
Pick it
Oh
up.
my God, who's ringing you? 1963.
Age Tiger. It'll be all right. It's Beth's mum, my mother-in-law. Oh, right. Hello, Brenda. Yeah, I'm on now, so it's Cage Tiger now, all right?
This is what Arthur does to make himself look younger. He pretends that his mother-in-law is still alive.
Hi, sorry. Sorry.
Anyway,
I'm sure the ritual that I have with Beth's mum, where before a gig, I go, right, it's Cage Tiger, and she says, okay, let the cage open, and out you go. And it's and I rang her earlier and she was out, so she's rung back to give me the Cage Tiger.
Oh, that's so sweet. And how long have you been doing that for?
Oh, about 10 years probably now. It's a silly little game we have, but it concentrates the mind. If it's 10 minutes before a gig, it's time to ring Brenda and we have that little game.
Oh, how lovely.
She is the loveliest woman in the world, Beth's mum. She really is.
Yeah, I'll never forget Beth, your missus, telling me the story that she told about the tennis umpire. And that's for another podcast. But yeah, she's a brilliant storyteller. So speaking of stories, can you dish a bit of storytelling vibes about any of your ex-girlfriends or one-night stands? Give us a bit of wisdom.
Okay, well, what do you want? A girl I never got off with, or a one-night stand where I did?
Well, I'd like the girl you never got off with, but that would be an awful lot of stories. So we'll have to go. We've only got 35 minutes. So let's go for the one-night stand.
Well, I can think of quite a good one once when I was doing a corporate gig in some posh hotel in London. And I did okay. And afterwards I went to the bar. And then a bloke came up to me and said, you were very funny. Can I buy you a drink? I said, yeah, right. And he said, tell me, are you married? And I could see there was a sort of tragic look in his face that he was having problems with his marriage. And I said, and then a woman appeared at the bar next to me. I said, yeah, I'm married to her. And he said, oh, how long? And she said, 4 years now. And then anyway, in the end, he went off. He was a bit miserable about his marriage. And me and my wife, who I now have been married to for some years, met and spoke for the first time. And then I happened to have a room in the hotel. And so anyway, the next morning she got a cab, and that was the end of my marriage.
I love it. But that's a great chat up. First of all, you have to be a stand-up comedian that's just done a gig. That always helps, because let's face it, the stage makes a man about 30% better looking. I
became a comedian, obviously.
I'm not laughing. My sister thought you were very attractive, my little sister. Just FYI. Yeah. I did show her a picture from the 80s though. But
moving on.
Yeah. And anyway, but so I think that is good technique. If you can engage a game with a group of women or a woman, and if they go along with it.
I've got another one when I was in Helsinki, and I'd just done a radio job, and me and the producer, we'd finished recording that day, and we were flying back to London the next day. But me and the producer had fallen out of it, and she just wanted to go back to the hotel, go to bed. So I thought, well, this is the end of this thing. I bought a bottle of champagne. This is in my drinking days. I sort of sat there on my own. And then I sent a glass over to one of the women in a group of women who were sitting having a night out, and which was a bit cheeky of me. But anyway, she came marching over and said, "Oh, you think you can interrupt? You can bring in, sending me champagne home," and started telling me off whilst drinking the champagne. And then so I said, "Well, I'm really sorry. I apologise. I didn't mean to." And she said, she said, "Oh, you're going to apologise." And she went on, and then had another glass of the champagne from my bottle. And then in the end, I said, "Well, I'm sorry I offended you. I'm going now. Do you want to come?" She said, "Oh, you think I'm going to come to your hotel? Do you? Right, come on in. I'll get my coat." And and then in the morning, she went too, and that was that one.
I love the way you're very much a gentleman. So the story, and then she came, and then in the morning, so we know what happened. We know.
Bad sex writing awards.
Yeah. You just, it's like the curtains close and you just see the wind through the curtain, and then in the morning both of you are just, meanwhile she's on another podcast called Bare Your Soul, horror stories and one night stands in Helsinki.
Oh, I remember she was very beautiful because she was half Finnish, half Ethiopian, I remember, which was quite a combination. She was a very beautiful woman.
That's what I'm going to lie about being from now on. I think I'll tend to be half Finnish, half Ethiopian. Maybe like with my white Ethiopian, and then I look at people like, you should know what this is or you're not woke, you know? White Ethiopian. And that's like, white South African. I'm like, no.
I remember someone telling me, a friend of mine who lived in Fee said the thing he said Finnish girls do apparently, and I do remember I had a Finnish girlfriend right at the start of the evening on the first date. She said, "So at the end we will go back and sleep together, and then I must leave at 1 o'clock." You know. So.
Yes, and the Dutch men are the same. I lived in Holland, and rather than saying, "Would you like to come inside?" Sounds wrong. Come into the flat now. They say, "Would you like to come back to mine for some sex?" Not Netflix. None of these code words, and it's very, very direct and honest, and I like it.
I think that's funny. I heard that about the Scandinavian women, all right, that they're much more direct. And the reason being is because Scandinavian men hammer back the alcohol. So the Scandi girls have to get them before they're drunk and be very direct, like, we are going to make the sex and you are going to stop having this truffle vodka that you are drinking, you know. But I don't know what accent that was. But very to do with them napping them before they're drunk.
I spent 3 months living in Copenhagen, being in a pantomime about 35 years ago. I know that sounds ridiculous, and it is, but it was an English language pantomime. It still goes on, I gather. It's still the same woman running it, Vivian McKee. And this is the only time I was ever in panto, and it was all very earnest Danish students in the audience who were studying English. So this was like some weird art form, as far as I was concerned.
Oh no, we were not.
That's right.
Yes, we were. I thought we did that.
So if you said, yes, oh yes, he is, that you'd hear a rustle. Oh no, and where is he? Oh, sorry, yes, he is behind you.
That's a very good thing to learn, actually.
My experience of Danish women, they were a bit like that, yeah.
Yeah. The pantomime is a mad British thing that doesn't exist anywhere else in Europe. It's kind of a very particularly English, I think, British thing.
Yeah, we have it in Ireland as well.
Because I knew an American comic who was like, I think it even translates into us being a bit call and response in our comedy. Because I knew an American who was like, oh, I forget that you say, oh, I've split up with someone, and the whole audience goes, oh.
Don't worry, he was a cunt. Yay!
Yeah. In America, it would just be like laughing and clapping, basically. They do the
very true. Yeah, and there's the interaction and the heckling. And the other thing that's really British that's funny is one of the best nights I ever had in my life was I got stoned, which is a very rare occasion, with an ex-boyfriend of mine from America that Charlie knows. And I tried to explain to him what Punch and Judy was, because they don't have it in America. And I was like, The man, he just beats up the woman. Oh, it's really funny. And anyone can do it. We could do it. But you have to be a puppet, but you could still be anybody. Like, and he just couldn't. And we were just too lazy to go over and get the phones to Google it. Like, so it was hours of me just trying. He was like, "What in the hell is this Punch and Judy?" You know. But
Punch and Judy. Are there still Punch and Judy shows?
Yeah, but now he's called seriously considering all my consequences with respect for women and Judy. And instead of punching her, he gives her decisions about how to kind of enlighten herself. And he asks her if she wants to leave him and stuff, you know. He gets custody of the baby. It's really different. It's not good, actually, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you imagine a woke Punch and Judy? Yeah, that would be, I'll say that to my parents now that they've changed Punch and Judy, and they'll be just like, do you ever do that? Do you ever, because Arthur, you're very much, I find, go with the flow, and you don't get upset, and things have changed so much since you've been in comedy, I can imagine. And you've never once said anything, but it's really good with all the changes. Even if you might be getting less work than, say, like a 17-year-old African woman with no legs who's transgender might be getting now. But some people you can really wind them up, like, and recently I wound up my landlord by telling him that they were changing the little green man to a little green woman because women were stopping to obey traffic laws because they didn't want to take any direction from men anymore, and he just went bananas.
Funnily enough, you never see you do in Scandinavia, but in street signs it's always men, nearly always. Apart from elderly crossing, you get a woman, but it's nearly always like. In fact, you can see. Can you see him at the back there?
You've got an Exhibit A. Well done for bringing the prop. Yeah,
that's the whole story that I wrote about. He's the fire exit man, and anyway. And I used real old road signs to make a story. And there hardly ever any women. The women get on the toilet door of the ladies, obviously.
Yeah. The one place that we get.
The elderly, the pregnant woman on the tube. She's a
woman, we can tell.
And you know what I find very offensive is it's all very body normative. I mean, so, they don't have any fat people in the little green man or any of the road signs.
No.
I've got another one here. I'm going to get this one.
Body shaming.
Oh
no, the bunting is gone.
This was this is part of that story I was telling you about, and this is but that is. I mean, you wouldn't say she was really skinny, particularly, would you? I suppose she's
normal. Yeah, she's a good, healthy BMI,
and she's doing a lot for the. She's doing a lot for the flat-chested community as well.
Yeah,
I noticed that, and the hairless community.
Yes, which is actually very good. Alopecia, well, people welcome it. People with alopecia.
Not as good as your dungarees, though. I don't think, Aideen. I'm very impressed with your dungarees.
I know, it gives you much more respect for me, doesn't it? It's like you want me to build you a wall and then to ride you on that wall. That's the type of woman I am now. Yeah.
Well, but enough, when I was at university in the sort of late 70s, at that time, women used to wear dungarees, and at the university, anyway, the students around me, the women, none of them ever sort of dressed up. Really, it was sort of like wearing Laura Ashley duvet covers or just regular. There was never any kind of heels or any of that stuff. I think that was how feminism was then, a bit more than now.
Generation Z, which is the one under us, millennials, we're millennials, me and you, Aideen. Generation Z, they look like, all of them look like drag queens. All of them.
Yeah, they do. A woman. Yeah, they do. They just get a ruler and do their makeup like. It's if their face is a serving suggestion, like a packet of cornflakes, and they just draw where they want their features to be with a ruler and bronzer. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm not. If we're having a conversation about makeup, I'm not going to be able to contribute very much.
But you will contribute a little. Did you ever have to wear makeup for TV?
Oh yeah, I suppose I've had to. They've slapped stuff on, but I never really care. I just say yeah, that's fine. Oh, I tell you what, I do remember once I had to have a wart on my face, and they do it with a Rice Krispie.
Oh, very good. I actually have been known to. I actually told a girl at school once I thought she had a Cocoa Pop on here. It turned out it was actually a permanent fixture.
Oh no. So our tip from the top is if you see any kind of cereal product on somebody's face, don't say anything. Even if it's a cornflake just right there and you just made love to them, don't
Even
flick
if
it.
it's perfectly circular Cheerio on the cheek.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe
Even if it's a Lucky Charm,
sweet
the leprechaun. Guys, that's good. So yeah, I was thinking about this when I was thinking about what I'd ask you about, Arthur, and ex-girlfriends come to mind. Have you had any? Oh, I like you've change of look there.
Branding.
I'm not going to say anything more about it in case you need those glasses for some kind of a visual.
No, I don't. I just found them here and I put them on just to be sort of change a bit in the second act.
Oh, very
Very
good.
clever, the theatrical impresario. But have you ever had a crazy ex-girlfriend, as they say, or a crazy woman one night stand?
Well, I mean, it's true that a lot of men think that women are crazy, and I think it's often the case that it's just that A, they don't understand the women, and B, they're more crazier than the woman. But I do remember once I wrote a poem about I'm in love with a nutty woman, but I'd rather be in love with you, but only providing you're nutty, because only nutty women will do.
Oh,
Wow.
that's lovely. Very nice poem. And I'm glad you say that, because every man I've ever met said to me that their ex-girlfriend is crazy. And then when I asked them, what do you mean by crazy? Do you mean that she drank cat's blood crazy? Or do you mean that she tried to friend your mother on Facebook crazy? Like, their definitions of crazy are so weak. And I thought about this, and men are far more crazy. Like, men, like, they go out, like, the things that men do land them in jail. They start wars. They're dictators. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, 5 text messages in a row, not that crazy, you know? So I think it's just part of the patriarchy. And this is my
I agree with you, Adine, absolutely. But I would point at one woman I went on a date with once who she, after a bit, she said, I just need to tell you something before we carry on. That last week I was kidnapped by aliens.
Oh.
And I had to have sex with them in outer space.
Right.
So, I mean, that is a bit odd.
That is crazy. Yeah, you're right. To be honest, that's from now on, that'll be the guide mark for me of craziness. If somebody doesn't have a story involving aliens, their ex was not crazy.
Maybe she had been kidnapped by aliens. You know, what do we know? We don't know nothing.
I remember reading about, say, a tip in a women's magazine, what to say to a man if you want to put him off.
Yes.
And it was there, yeah. But it didn't.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, no, I must admit, because what do you say to somebody who says that? Is, oh, really? And, you know, so I was finding it a bit hard. I suddenly felt a bit ill and decided to go home. At which point, though, as I was leaving, I remember she kissed me. You know, she kind of grabbed me and kissed me in a most beautiful way. But I thought, no, I think really I'll go home anyway. And so it was a very magical kiss. And I think she'd enjoyed it with the aliens, she said, as well. It wasn't like the aliens were bad. She'd had quite a good time with them, which made me wonder, oh, how can I compete with these aliens?
Right.
I think most men wouldn't have been as gallant as you. Most men have been like, she's talking about aliens, but she's also talking about sex. Am I right? Back to her place for the probe. So I'm really going to shoehorn this in now, but I want to do it because I've done a bit of homework. I made a gender quiz, right? Because there's a lot of things that are stereotypes, as well as the woman being stereotype of crazy. there's other few stereotypes, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about them. So now I'm going to have our gender stereotype quiz. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Of course you are. You have nowhere else to go. Right. So, true or false? Men cheat more than women. What do you think about this, Charlie?
I know about this. I've listened.
Did you say men shit more than women?
Cheat.
Men. No, I didn't say men shit more than women. That's definitely true. Men cheat more than women.
I learned recently.
Adultery. It's called adultery. Cheating is the modern term they've used since the 60s. But when you were doing it, it was called adultery. It was the seventh commandment.
So I would say that men used to report cheating more than women. But in recent studies, as I've heard on the radio, on Radio 4, was it Radio 4? I just said that to make myself sound like it was like, you've got to believe me now. It was probably a podcast done by some teenagers. But anyway, I heard that the gap, the gender gap is closing, not for pay. No, we're still paid less. But the cheating gender gap is closing. So actually women report to cheat just as much as men nowadays than they did. And before it used to be men reporting more. So it can mean one of two things. Women are cheating more, or women feel more comfortable to talk about cheating more.
That is the exact answer.
Conceivably.
Well, yeah, that's possible too. Yeah, I never even thought that could happen, but you're right.
Are you saying that they're cheating less and then lying about it?
Oh, I don't know. I apologise.
Okay, so these are the things it could mean. Women are cheating more, women are lying less. Men are cheating less and lying more.
Oh,
you're exactly right. That is true.
Or
in 2000,
other option, no one's cheating, but lots of people are making up stories about cheating.
Yeah, which could be true as well, because everyone's just sitting in their rooms and COVID watching porn. Correct, Charlie. So 1 point to Charlie, and Brian, I'll give you 1 point for effort. 2 points to Charlie. Yeah, in 2000, which was when the last big statistics were made, it was found that 9% of women cheated, as compared to a whopping 15% of men. However, since that 20 years, women are reporting they're cheating more and more comfortable with it. Also, definitions of cheating are wider as well. So men are realizing that, they can't be just, men just saying they're seeing women isn't acceptable anymore. Right. Question number 2. Who speaks more? Who talks more? Men or women?
I'm waiting for Arthur to speak so I can accuse him of speaking too much, but that didn't work. He saw that coming. I would say men speak more than women, but people think women speak more because they find their voices annoying.
Oh my God, you're nailing this. It's as if we got together behind Arthur's back to prep these questions. We really didn't, Arthur, okay? But I like how you're so stoic. But we must be reading the same copies of Psychology Today and Science Week, Charlie. So yeah, women actually speak less than men. In mixed groups, men will always speak more. And in one-on-one conversations between men and women, men will also speak more. In 2016, in 2000 the biggest grossing films that came out, women only spoke for 27% of those films. And of course, you have that Bechdel test as well that they always talk about. But you see, men are so used to speaking more than women on a one-on-one basis. When a woman finally gets comfortable in a relationship situation and does start to speak 55, 56% of the time, men are like, whoa, she's talking loads. And then they do a stand-up comedy routine about it. So we have the stereotype of the chatty woman. Now, women do have a need to share their feelings more with their female friends, but that's another story. So 2 points to chatty Charlie and 0 to silent.
I don't know the answers to both of them, but I just let Charlie go first.
That's also sexist, Arthur. You can't win. It's stacked against you. Oh, no, okay. All right. So, where are we going now? Oh, yeah. Men drink more alcohol than women.
Yes. Well,
yes.
I would say...
Arthur, you're correct. Yeah, men do drink more alcohol than women. You're correct, but women are quickly catching up. So hopefully, in about 5 years' time, we'll have as much sclerosis as you guys. But yeah, there's a huge.
Have either of you had a drink this evening?
No, I've been drinking my non-alcoholic beer here.
I'm long time.
No.
No, I don't either. Which is actually something else we have in common. Neither of us drink in this triumvirate of happy folks. But
Well, I occasionally have one glass of red on a Friday night, but that's all.
Yeah, you're very moderate in it. It's a really good neg. It's a really way to put somebody down if they've been on a roll and you're chatting away and you just go to them. Have you been drinking?
Yeah.
And then say nothing. Okay,
I remember saying to people, being stuck with like the most boring man in the pub, and when they're drunk, they're much more boring. They repeat themselves over and over again. They're extremely voluble, men particularly. But if you say, "I'm sorry, I don't want to talk to you. You're drunk," they say, "Drunk? I'm not drunk." That's always an outrageous accusation.
Yeah, that's a fight.
Yeah. The last question, guys. Are you ready? Arthur, you could get it all back here. Who is fatter? Men or women?
Great question.
Men, I would say. I mean,
do we take into account the breasts? Because technically the breasts are just 2 pockets of fat.
How much do breasts weigh?
Oh, the same as, I don't know. It depends on the woman, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. It would be quite hard to weigh, though.
Well, you can get away at cake scales and put your boob into it, and you won't actually be accurate, but it's very funny for all your friends in the domestic science class. So the answer is men. I took these statistics from Ireland. So, but let's just face it, Ireland and England are the same. Don't tell anyone I said that, right? And it's of obesity, obese or overweight people in Ireland. 60% of people in Ireland are obese or overweight, and that's a whopping 66% of men in Ireland are obese. Right?
Well,
so the idea of the fat mother-in-law, or
let me tell you this statistic. In America, did you know 1 out of 3 Americans weighs as much as the other 2?
Oh. I totally leaned in and fell for it. I was like,
not sure I get it.
Oh,
Never mind.
All right. So, guys, I'm delighted that we bust down the doors of stereotypes there. We got a few old stories out about Arthur. Before we leave the podcast, Charlie, have you learned anything from doing this?
I have, actually. I've learned that if you tell people you're lonely, you actually end up feeling less lonely.
Yeah, that's good, because everybody else is lonely too.
And actually, it shocks people to say that you're lonely, because not many people admit it. They just say that they're busy or tired instead.
Are those British people's emotions go to?
Totally. When people are tired, they normally mean they're sort of annoyed or thing, and then busy. Yeah, those are the 2 things they can be comfortable with. But to say you're lonely, if you're lonely, say it. I think.
Yeah, I think say if you're feeling miserable, or say that too, because there's always going to be loads of people out there who feel the same. And yes, to share it is to help. Is to
lessen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was a beautiful lesson to learn. I learned the lesson that use your brain to replay things in your mind. So I was upset about losing my gig, but I have to just cast my mind back to the day before I got the gig, where I was happy out, just delighted to be living my life with my £150 gigs ahead of me. And I also learned that if you want to chat somebody up, just pretend you're already married to them, and hopefully the cookiness of it will sweep you away in one night stand. You also have to be in a pantomime as well. That will also help. Arthur,
I think what I've learned from talking to you two is that whilst can't be asked from this is a reasonable and valid response to the world, sometimes it's nice if you can be asked, maybe once a day.
CBA therapy can be arsed, but only once a day. Wise words from Arthur Smith. So
I feel like the tone with which she said that was just so good. It was like, I don't really know about the content, but the delivery was so like final.
Yeah, you're right. I know I should start up some kind of cult where I talk to people very wisely and give them all the ways to lead their lives and to give me their bank details, please.
Yeah, but Arthur, you have done ads a lot, haven't you? What's your most famous advertisement you've done?
I remember once I had to do Thompson's The Price is Right. I just had to say that. But at this particular voiceover, this is again in the early 30s, and I was drinking. I'd been to a Christmas party, and I did the first one, Thompson's The Price is Right. But then, the second take, it was Thompson's The Price. No, hang on. Thomason's, sure. And but fortunately I got one, and in the end that did it.
They're like, he's a genius, but so difficult to deal with.
Yeah. I'm not proud of that, really.
It's kind of funny though. So anyway, we have a bit of news. Thank you so much, Arthur, for joining us. You were absolutely brilliant. I'm so delighted I invited you on. And tell Beth and Brenda and all your family members I say hello.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye, Aideen. Bye-bye, Charlie. Thank you.
Bye. See you later. See you later. Lots of love. And just before we very much end at the end, normally we would introduce next week's podcast, but we're taking a little holiday, myself and Charlie.
Yes.
Because we've been both abducted by aliens. We're going to have sex with them.
And I've actually become pregnant by one of the aliens.
And I can't conceive with humans. Turns out aliens don't do it for me either. So not a woman, not even a female alien. But we were taking a summer sabbatical from Tips from the Top. But we'll be back in a few weeks. So watch this space. And we'd love to thank Jim, our producer, so much for all the brilliant hard work he's done for us so far. We absolutely love working with you.
And thank you, Kane, who does the sound to some of the stuff in the background as well.
Yeah, this is not, a lot of people think me and Charlie do all these graphics. And I'd like you to continue thinking that, but it's not true. All the hard work now is really up to them and organizing and producing. So thank you so much. And keep watching Joke Pit. And when the gigs start getting back, they have loads of other shows on as well. So watch that. Check out Joke Pit on all the different social medias. And when the gigs come back, be checking out and supporting live comedy as well when you can. So we'll see you in a few weeks. Watch this space, which is the internet. And thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night. Thanks, Arthur.